Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. On the return of the Daily Leeds, it seems an age since I've done this. It is Saturday, the 4th of September, man. It's soon to be Christmas. But yeah, look, I'm bringing back the Daily Leeds. It's your one-stop shop for all the latest news at Elland Road, Thorp, and of course, everything concerning Leeds United. This is my bread and butter. This is what I wanted to do, bring you something daily so you can keep up to date with everything concerning Leeds United. Of course, the transfer window happened. We had a few live streams that day, but I want to get back to doing this. And of course, you'll have continuous stuff thrown in when we get in and around the matches, watch-alongs, all that sort of stuff. But this is going to be the bread and butter. So as I say, that's enough from my waffle, just to say, there may be some days where I can't do it due to, other goings on, as you can appreciate, life and all that sort of stuff. But I will aim to do this daily, regardless, okay? Regardless from this day forth. As I say, I haven't really missed that many. I'm probably being a little bit too hard on myself. But let's get straight into today's video. And this is the moment when I take a stand. So guys, before we get into today's news stories, we've got some fallout from the transfer window, some potential outgoings that never happened. We've got a chat about Raphinha. We're going to hear from the Barrow boss, just looking ahead to Robbie Gotts and Jordan Stevens for, signing there. We've got some socios chat. Plenty to get into, but before we do, please vote for me in the Best New Content Creator category, the Football Content Awards. The link is in the description. Next Friday, I'll be doing the Yorkshire Free Peaks with the LUFC Foundation and the All Leeds TV Cam. Victor and Angus will also be taking part, so if you can donate to the LUFC Foundation, the link is down below in the description as well. And of course, smash a like, subscribe, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. But we're going to start, first of all, with news of Raphinha. We know, as Leeds United fans, that he was due to get his first call-up, get his first international appearance for Brazil in the World Cup qualifiers. But then we heard from the government that the players won't be allowed to be released to red zone countries. So therefore, he wouldn't be able to play. So, selfishly, you might look at it and think, well, we've got Liverpool next. We need Raphinha. Can we afford to give him up? But it turns out the Brazilian FA and FIFA possibly could sanction the Premier League and clubs that make this decision. So basically what the Premier League stance hasn't changed, they're saying that they won't release players or don't want players to go to red list countries, because what that will mean is obviously they'd have to quarantine. They'd have to come back and quarantine for 10 days, which means obviously we'd be without Raphinha. Liverpool would be without the likes of Alisson, Fabinho, Firmino, etc. So from a Premier League standpoint and a club standpoint, you can understand why. But there is actually a law that can be actioned through FIFA that states if a club bans their players joining up with their international side, then after the international break, the player will not be allowed to play for their club for 5 days. Okay? So even if Raphinha isn't allowed to go and FIFA and Brazilian FA, sanction these clubs, then what will happen is we'll miss him for 5 days anyway. He can't be involved, with training or anything like that in that period. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, if he goes, he has to come back, does the mandatory 10-day quarantine, won't be able to train, etc. But if we choose just to not let him go, then he's still going to miss 5 days anyway. So Leeds United are in between a rock and a hard place. But I guess from a club perspective, they may view the 5-day ban a lesser evil. Yes, he will miss the Liverpool game, but if he was to go and have to do the mandatory 10-day quarantine, then we might miss him for Newcastle. If my maths are correct, we probably will, right? And he's not going to be able to train within that time either. So it's going to be interesting. I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. What would you do? Do we let Raphinha go, represent his country, because Bielsa's big on that, and he has to do the mandatory 10-day, or do we say, look, he's not going just in case he gets COVID or whatever, and we'd rather him stay here and take the 5 days? I mean, it may be that FIFA can't sanction us and it may just be a moot point and he plays against Liverpool. I guess the thing is with that, at least we have Dan James now. Costa obviously joined Valencia, Poveda is at Blackburn, we've got Somerville, we've got Dan James. You might find that Dan James has to play against Liverpool if indeed Raphinha can't, go join up with Brazil and these sanctions are given. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. We also heard from Trevor Sinclair. Trevor Sinclair, the fountain of knowledge that once said that Ronaldo would be a great signing for Manchester City, then within 5 days flip-flopped and said he's no good and he's past his best. This is the sort of people we're dealing with here. We're talking Jamie O'Hara, Gabby Agbonlahor, these sort of people. But basically, he was on TalkSport and he said, look, if Leeds don't start threatening the top 4 this season, Kalvin Phillips will go. He said he was surprised that Manchester United didn't have a look at him. And he believes that if they did bring him in, they would have been real title contenders. I do agree with that point. McFred, not really. Kalvin, baller. We've seen how great he was for England the other night, him and Declan Rice. What a partnership that is. What a performance. What the way that the lads handled the racial abuse and stuff. It was just sweet. It was sweet as a nut. It shouldn't be happening, don't get me wrong. And Hungry FA, the amount of stuff the Hungry fans have done, homophobic, racial, it's just disgusting. So for me, they should just be banned for a period of time anyway. But anyway, that's it's not a moot point. It's a fantastic, we could speak all day on them sort of issues. But I do think Kalvin would, of course, improve Manchester United. That goes without saying. But Trevor Sinclair's main point was that Leeds United must push for Europe or lose Kalvin Phillips. I think it's a point we discuss all the time on this channel. I've constantly said we need to continue to progress because there will become a time where someone like Kalvin, who's doing it international level, not just doing it, he's bossing it. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's going to want to play on the highest stage. Do I think we need to be challenging the top 4 this season? Not a chance. Does Kalvin expect us to? No, not a chance. I do think we need to progress. Or at least consolidate in a similar sort of position as last year and then go again. I do think next summer we will invest heavily. I do expect that. I should have Phil here on the channel during the international break, guys, so maybe he can give us a lowdown of what he, thinks for the future in terms of will we do anything in January, etc. But I look at Kalvin, and if he sees the squad improving, then I think he will stay. Now, if in 2, 3, 4 seasons' time, maybe three at a push, we're still in the same sort of boat and we're not really progressing as a club in terms of bringing in names, etc., and we're not evolving, then of course. But I don't think Kalvin expects Leeds United to be challenging the top 4. I think Trevor Sinclair to expect Leeds United to challenge for the top 4 or lose Kalvin is just a stupid point as well. Like, the top 4 is the top 4. It's settled. It's signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. Yeah, it is. Of course, City, Chelsea, Manchester United, and Liverpool. I don't see anyone challenging them this season. I think the teams that will challenge for the other European spots, yeah, okay, that will be a little bit more tighter. But I think the top 4 are head and shoulders above the rest of us. I just have to say that just with the the acquisitions they've made in the summer. But Leeds United, look, Dan James comes in. We haven't really got going, but what's to say we can't challenge for them European spots? I think it'll be a big push. It's mad how bringing in Dan James has suddenly boosted the fan base, because I was saying, hey, between 8th and 14th, probably looking at 14th. One player comes in and I'm like, yeah, why can't we go for Europe, man? Why can't we do that? You know what I'm like, though. I'm positive at the best of times. But yeah, Trevor Sinclair, I'd be more concerned about Raphinha. But again, that doesn't mean we need to be pushing top 4. I think that's a crazy point made by Trevor Sinclair. We heard from Costa. Costa, finally. I mean, when was the last time he did anything for Leeds United or actually spoken to anyone? I don't know. He was sort of just fading into the background a little bit, wasn't he? But he did an interview with Valencia, and he revealed that Rodrigo helped him with the last-gasp deadline day switch. He said, I spoke to Rodrigo Moreno. He said great things about Valencia. He knows they're a very big team. He's excited and can't wait to start working there. He wants to do his best for the team, etc. And listen, I wish Helder Costa the best of luck. I think, giving it all, it was all deadline day, and I know the deal was pushed through at that point, but he followed Valencia weeks ago on social media. I think that was always going to be the move for him. Jorge Mendes being his agent, he's great at touting out his players and manages to find his players some great clubs. I think I don't know how Costa's gone from Leeds United to Valencia, if I'm being totally honest, but there you go. I wish him all the luck. I wish him all the luck, and I hope he does well, and I think the deal will be made permanent. Just while we're on the winger situation at Leeds United as well, it's come out now that Leeds United rejected a number of approaches for under-23s winger Crescencio Somerville during this transfer window. So it was EFL foreign clubs coming for him. He was a man in demand, and Leeds United and Bielsa obviously see him as ready. You know, we were talking about we haven't seen him yet, but the fact that Costa's moved on and Poveda, we now have two wingers in Somerville and Dan James. And I think it's a real testament of Somerville's ceiling or potential, because the fact that Bielsa's willing to move on Costa and Poveda, especially when you consider how many games they've played. Poveda played a lot of times in the Premier League last season, and he's putting a lot of trust in Somerville. So you can see why the club, you know, rejected any approaches there. They also rejected approaches for Sam Greenwood, guys. So it turns out up to 6 Championship clubs, including Swansea and Bournemouth. And, you know, Swansea and Bournemouth are challenging at the top of the division, tried to sign the 19-year-old in this summer's transfer window. So that's quite interesting as well. He's obviously a man in demand. The under-23s we have, the players, you know, at our disposal is just crazy. I want to see them get some first-team minutes, but Leeds United need to start getting some wins on the board first before, you know, we start crying out for them to get some game time. Maybe we may see Somerville against Liverpool. I mean, if you consider that Raphinha might not make it due to this issue with him being released for Brazil, means he's got to start Dan James, surely, or will he be willing to push him straight in and maybe he starts Somerville? You just don't know. Knowing Bielsa, it'll probably be Dallas on the wing. But we'll have to wait and see. And it's coming out as well, guys, that we rejected a late approach from Barcelona for striker Rodrigo. JUSTJOE, who's a Spanish reporter, came out and said, look, Barcelona went to Leeds asking for Rodrigo, but the answer was no. I think it's an absolute shambles what's going on at Barcelona, etc. But it's quite interesting to hear that they did make an approach for Rodrigo, and it just shows as a striker he is well thought of. At Leeds United, he's not being played in that role, nor should he be ahead of Bamford. And it's a lot for Leeds United to put a player of his quality on the bench as understudy to Bamford. But Bamford's come on so much. I mean, he's playing for England. I expect him to play tomorrow night against Andorra. I think he might start. And it just shows the qualities are there for Rodrigo. You know, he's well thought of. I hope he comes good. You know, Bielsa keeps persisting with him in that. It's not really a 10, is it? It's more of a higher 8, a more attacking 8. But the jury's still out. But I want him to come good. And if I'm being totally honest with you now, looking at it based on recent form, I would rather start Tyler Roberts against Liverpool. And that's a big statement. I don't think he will. I think he will go with Rodrigo. But I would probably now, if you were to ask me now, would prefer to start with Roberts against Liverpool in that high 8 role. Raphinha and then Harrison, and then we bring Dan James on. We'll have to wait and see. But Rodrigo may have to spend some time on the bench for me and come on as a substitute for Paddy Bamford. But again, he's our record signing. You want more, we expect more, and we're all hopeful that we will get more. Just finally, guys, a few more bits to go through. There's been massive fallout from the socios fan tokens again. It's not been well received on social media. I know social media is a small barometer of Leeds United fans. I've come to learn that, you know, you can easily think Twitter is the be-all and end-all, when in actual fact, it's really minute in terms of what the fan base is. But, you know, I've been given some fan tokens because I'm a season ticket holder. I've not used them. You know, it's quite laughable, actually. Like, the club or socios have asked Leeds United fans to use their tokens to vote for the names of the training pictures at Thorp Arch, the new training pictures. The names that were there, I think, was Gordon Strachan, Lucas Radebe, Nigel Martin, and I think the other one was Tony Dorigo. And it shows how, you know, they're painting this as a fan engagement tool, token kind of thing. But the actual questions on the app, the question was wrong. The question was wrong that they asked, first of all. The answers was incorrect. And the spellings, they got the names of the players wrong. It was Nigel Marty and Gordon Strachan. Gordon Strachan. I actually seen an image. Someone superimposed a ham on top of Gordon Strachan's head, which was really funny. But it just shows it's not really about the fans. It's about cryptocurrency and people making money off the fans. If you are considering entering it or putting any money in, if you know about crypto, if that's your bag, I can't say. But for me, no, I'm staying away from it, and that's just my opinion. Good luck as well to Josh Warrington. Of course, he'll be fighting at Headingley tonight, trying to avenge his first loss of his career against Lara. Just some pictures there, you know, in the face-to-face that they had. Come on, the Leeds Warrior, you know what I mean? I'll be watching that, so hopefully good luck to him in that fight. Katie Taylor as well, who's a Leeds United fan, said, thanks so much for Leeds United for the jersey. The city of Leeds and the football club has always held a special place in my heart. Can't wait for Saturday night. So Katie Taylor will be fighting on the bill as well. So that's going to be some fight. And I expect Josh to come back with a vengeance and beat Lara this time. Fingers crossed anyway. And just to finish as well, guys, Barrow boss Mark Cooper has been speaking. Obviously, Robbie Gotts and Jordan Stevens, both formerly of Leeds United, have linked up at Barrow. And he was just speaking and saying, look, I think it's important that I have players that were robust and could play games. You know, they sit 18th in League Two. It's quite the drop-off for the lads. And it disappoints me a little bit, especially because I know Robbie, you know. But the manager was speaking glowingly on the pair and said, look, you know, if you want a fit player, any club that you're going to get them from, it's going to be Leeds United. You know, they're the right type of player. They can run box to box. They can press. They can go past people with the ball. They both can create. And it's really exciting times for Barrow, bringing them two players in. So I just want to wish them both good luck as well. Good luck in their careers. And hopefully they'll find their way back to the top of the game. But that's it, guys, for your Daily Leeds. I enjoyed doing that. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Please smash a like on the video. As I say, this is going to be the bread and butter. I'm going to continue to do this for you throughout, constant, and of course we'll throw in other stuff. But as I say, I've got some few irons in the fire. Hopefully we'll have some exciting videos coming. I will be doing a watch along tomorrow night as well for the England game. I'm thinking Paddy Bamford starts, so we'll have to wait and see. But thank you as always for watching. It's a pleasure doing this. Smash a like on the video, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.